Hey friends, please help me reach 1,000 subscribers. Your support is very important for my channel. Thank you so much. The clink of plates and the hiss of steam from the dishwashing machine filled the air, creating a steady rhythm in the bustling kitchen. It was a kind of music, raw and industrial, that could lull you into a trance if you let it. But in Verdant, a sleek downtown Seattle eatery, there was no room for calm, not for someone like me. The staff kept their distance, their whispers trailing behind me like shadows. Some thought I was deaf. Others pegged me as a drifter with a dark past. No one bothered to ask, and I didn't volunteer the truth. Verdant was a high-end spot, all locally sourced produce, dim Edison bulbs, and a cocktail menu that outshone the food. It was where tech moguls sealed deals and couples marked milestones. Every countertop sparkled, from the marble bar to the stainless steel kitchen surfaces. Nathan Voss, the owner, demanded perfection. He wasn't harsh, but he was worn thin. Once a magnetic presence, quick with a smile, he now carried a weight in his eyes. His jaw was always tight, his gaze distant. His marriage was unraveling, his head chef had just walked out, and the empire he'd built was starting to feel like a cage. I caught him once, staring into the bar's mirrored backsplash, as if he didn't know the man looking back. His wife, Claire Voss, was a vision, polished nails, tailored dresses, and a scent of gardenia that clung to the air. She was always a martini away from sparking an argument. She'd accused Nathan of straying, though she was the one slipping out for late-night book club meetings. I knew because her voice carried through the walls when she fought with him. Most nights, Nathan was at Verdant before dawn and didn't leave until Claire was already asleep, if she was even home. Then came the blow. Leo Carter, the chef who'd kept the place running, quit without warning. He left a crisp note on Nathan's desk, no explanation, just gone. Nathan took it like a knife to the gut. That night, he was wired, barking orders, his phone vibrating nonstop in his pocket. Claire's name flashed on the screen. He let it go to voicemail. Down in the kitchen, I was scouring wine glasses when Dylan Reese, the bartender, held one up to the light. "Hey, Mara, you missed a streak," he called, grinning. The servers nearby smirked, hiding their laughter behind their hands. He waved the glass like it was evidence, tilting it to catch the light. A fingerprint, a speck, nothing, probably. I walked over, grabbed a cloth, and wiped the rim once, slow and deliberate. I handed it back without a word. Dylan opened his mouth for another jab, but I was already moving on. It wasn't new. Dylan loved his little shows, holding up my work for inspection like I was a rookie. The staff played along, turning me into the butt of their slow night jokes. I didn't blink, didn't snap. That drove them crazier than any comeback would. What I didn't know was that upstairs, Nathan had given Dylan a mission, push me out. "Make her leave," he'd said. "Stir something up, I don't care how, just make sure she's gone by next week." So the games began. Dylan tried hard. He'd inspect plates like a detective, muttering loud enough for the servers to hear. Tough to find decent help these days. He'd glance my way with a smirk. The others would snicker. It didn't faze me. I'd faced worse than a cocky bartender. What got under his skin was my silence. No glares, no sharp words, just a nod and back to work. It threw him off, chipped at his ego. I think it started to unsettle him. The rumors about me swirled. I wasn't chatty, so they filled in the gaps. My worn baseball cap and downcast eyes didn't help. Some said I was a runaway, maybe a con artist. One server swore I'd torched a diner into coma. Another claimed Nathan hired me out of charity, saving me from the streets. I let them talk. As long as my paycheck cleared and no one got too close, they could spin whatever tailies they wanted. But Dylan's failure to break me started to grate on Nathan. I heard he'd slashed Dylan's tips one night, called him useless for not rattling a dishwasher. The next day, Nathan slammed a drawer so hard a customer flinched. That's when I knew the air had shifted. A man who takes it out on furniture is a man to watch. Then came the night everything turned. The restaurant was nearly empty, most of the staff gone. I was stacking forks when Dylan approached, holding a paper bag like it was heavier than it looked. "Thought you might want this," he said, voice unsteady. I took it, catching a whiff of almond and dark chocolate. A slice of torte, rich and handmade, not the cheap stuff. "Didn't sell much tonight," he added, rubbing his neck. "Pastry crew was gonna toss it. Seemed a shame." I studied him, not trusting, not friendly, just looking. He shifted, uneasy. "You live far?" he asked. I should have stayed quiet, should have taken the dessert and left, but something in his tone, hesitant, maybe real, pulled at me. 10 minutes walk, I said. He nodded. Well, enjoy. I don't know why I spoke, but the words slipped out. You could join me for a piece if you're not in a hurry. His eyes widened like I'd thrown him a curveball. He blinked, then shrugged. Sure, why not? That night, Dylan Reese followed me home. He thought it was just about dessert, but that walk would crack open everything he thought he knew about me and spark a truth he wasn't prepared for. My place was on the 4th floor of a crumbling brick building, wedged between a vape shop and a boarded-up deli. The stairs groaned, and the hallway smelled of mildew and cheap cleaner. Paint flaked off the walls, and the fluorescent lights buzzed like dying insects. Dylan's eyes darted around as we climbed, taking in the chipped railings and faded door numbers. I didn't comment. Inside, my apartment was small, a single room with a corner kitchen, a bathroom barely bigger than a closet, and windows that rattled in the wind. But it was spotless. I'd hung blue curtains, thin and second-hand, that softened the streetlight's glow. A cracked teacup on the sill held a sprig of plastic lavender. The couch sagged, the table was scuffed, but it was mine. Dylan stepped in, hesitating, like he wasn't sure whether to sit or run. I locked the door and, without warning, pushed him against the wall, not hard, just enough to make a point. My forearm rested lightly against his collarbone. Still think I'm just a dishwasher? I asked, voice low. His breath hitched, eyes wide, searching mine. I held him there a moment longer, then stepped back. I don't play games, I said. If this is one, leave now. He raised his hands, rattled. It's not, I swear. Just tort. I nodded toward the table. Set it down, I'll make coffee. He exhaled, moving to the table, the bag rustling as he unpacked it. I busied myself in the kitchen, heating water, pulling out 2 chipped mugs and a jar of instant coffee. No cream, no sugar, just bitter grounds and steam. We sat and ate in silence. The tort was good, dense, nutty, not too sweet. Dylan relaxed a bit, even cracked a small smile. I didn't mirror it. His gaze drifted to my fridge where a photo hung under a star-shaped magnet. That your kid? He asked. I didn't look. Yeah. The guy next to her. I set my fork down. Someone I knew. He tilted his head. You don't strike me as the mom type. She's 6. Her name's Ava. Everyone says she's my spitting image. Where's she at now? Night daycare by the waterfront. I pick her up after shifts. He nodded, looking back at his plate. The silence shifted, less guarded. He wasn't performing anymore, and I wasn't hiding. I didn't spill everything, not then, but a door had opened. Then I spoke, and the dam broke. I wasn't always like this, I said, staring into my mug. I grew up with money, big house, private schools, summers in Italy. My parents were in politics, high-level, connected. I spoke French and Mandarin before I got my driver's license. Dylan didn't interrupt, just listened. But I hated it, I went on. The dinners, the networking, the life they'd mapped out for me, I wanted to paint. There's something about a canvas. When the colors bleed just right, it's like you're rewriting the world. My parents called it a phase. When I got into an art school instead of Yale, they cut me off. Told me to leave if I wanted to throw my life away, so I did. Dylan's brow creased, caught between respect and pity. Best choice I ever made, I said. Hard, but worth it. I lived in a dive with 10 other artists, all of us broke and hungry. I worked nights at a diner, painted all day. Then I met Jonah. He was a sculptor, a genius with stone. We fell hard, messy, intense, like something out of a movie. We got into a gallery collective, traveled for shows. Paris, Buenos Aires, Tokyo, it was grueling but electric. I paused, the memories sharp. Then came Lisbon, a big exhibition. The setup crew botched the rigging for Jonah's installation. It collapsed mid-show. He took the hit, shattered his arm, lost feeling in his hand. Doctors said he'd never sculpt again. Dylan hadn't touched his coffee. We came back, tried to rebuild. Opened a little cafe, Mediterranean style, just a few tables. We threw everything into it, savings, recipes, dreams. It worked. People loved it. We were talking about a second location when Ava came along. Unplanned, but perfect. I stopped, my voice catching. Then we got an offer from some European suppliers. Rare olives, artisanal cheeses, exclusive stuff. We signed a contract. They sent a consultant to help, but it was a setup. Customs flagged a shipment, drugs hidden in the crates. The consultant vanished. The suppliers ghosted. Jonah fought to clear our names, but the stress, he had a stroke. Died a month later. the room felt heavier. Dylan's breathing was quiet, careful. I took Ava and ran. Seattle was as far as I could get with what I had, changed my hair, took any job I could find. Here I am. He looked at me, really looked, like he was seeing past the apron for the first time. Not the dishwasher, not the joke, just a woman who'd survived a war. Things at Verdant turned jagged after that. The tension wasn't subtle anymore. It crackled like static. I didn't see the blowout, but gossip travels fast. One of the busboys, who lived near Nathan, said Claire had waited up for him that night. When he stumbled in past midnight, she unleashed hell. Plates smashed, a vase hit the floor, and their shouting woke half the block. Someone called the cops. The next morning, Nathan showed up looking like a man who'd lost a fight with himself. His eyes were hollow, his movements slow. And there was a new scent on him, not his usual cedar cologne, but something floral, cloying. Roses and amber. It was Claire's perfume, the kind that stuck to skin like a confession. I saw him pause when he caught it on his sleeve, his face twisting for a split second. Something in him broke. By noon, Claire swept into Verdant, all smiles and silk scarves with a man in tow. Julian Holt, tall and sharp, with a smile that didn't match his eyes. He carried a sleek knife case and wore a tailored chef's jacket. Claire introduced him as a culinary prodigy, perfect for their upcoming menu overhaul. Nathan didn't argue, barely looked up, just waved them off. But I noticed Julian's eyes scanning the kitchen, not the equipment but the corners, the exits. My skin prickled. Later, I overheard Claire in Nathan's office, her voice honeyed but firm. "You owe me this," she said. "After last night, just humor me." Nathan's reply was low, tired. "Fine. But I'm not in the mood for games." The game turned out to be a stunt. Claire had convinced Nathan to prank their new suppliers, a group of investors he'd been courting. The plan: pass me off as his wife. Bring me, the dishwasher, into a meeting in my work apron and introduce me as Mrs. Voss. Claire wanted to see the investors squirm, then swoop in with her charm to reveal the joke. She called it harmless. Nathan called it a distraction. I called it trouble. Nathan found me in the kitchen just before the meeting. "I need you upstairs," he said, no preamble. "You're playing my wife for 5 minutes. Smile, stand there, that's it. Claire will handle the rest." I peeled off my gloves slowly. "Why me?" he hesitated, then said, "Because she insisted." It wasn't an answer, but I followed him. The meeting room was stark, chilly, with a long glass table. 2 men waited, Victor Kane and his partner, Miles Chen. They looked polished, tailored suits, firm handshakes, but their eyes were cold, calculating. Nathan introduced me, his smile tight. "This is my wife, Mara. She pitches in around here sometimes." The men nodded, no questions, though I saw their surprise. My apron was still damp, my hair tucked under a net. "We're excited to close this deal," Victor said, sliding a folder to Nathan. "Standard terms, you'll like the numbers." I didn't wait. I picked up the folder and flipped through it. No one stopped me. The contract was dense, percentages, timelines, shipping clauses, but buried in the fine print were phrases I knew too well. Specialty goods, exempted inspections. My stomach dropped. It was the same setup that had ruined me years ago. I looked at Nathan. "Don't sign this." His head snapped toward me. "What?" I pointed to a clause. "These aren't suppliers. Not for food. They're moving drugs through your supply chain, using your name to dodge scrutiny." Victor's face hardened. Miles shifted in his seat. Nathan stared at me, then at them. "Is this true?" Before they could answer, Claire burst in, all drama and flair. "Surprise," she chirped. "She's not his wife, I am. Funny, right?" No one laughed. Her smile wavered. Nathan's voice was ice. "You brought these people here," Claire blinked. "What? No, Julian," Nathan cut in. "Your chef smells like your perfume." Victor stood, but Nathan held up a hand. "Don't, Mara, call the police." I didn't pause. Within an hour, the room was swarming with cops. Claire was cuffed, screaming about misunderstandings. Miles tried to bolt and was pinned in the alley. Julian, it turned out, was on an FBI watch list under an alias. Nathan stood in the chaos, watching his world fracture. Verdant went quiet after that. Nathan shut it down for a week, canceling bookings. The DEA tore through every crate, every record. The staff stopped whispering about me. They didn't know what to say. 2 days later, Nathan found me in the empty dining room, picking at the label on a water bottle. He sat across from me, studying me. "I owe you everything," he said. I stayed silent. "You saved this place," he went on. My reputation, probably my freedom. He slid a key across the table. This is for an apartment downtown, 2 bedrooms, good school nearby, paid for a year. I stared at the key. I also talked to my lawyer, he said. I'm giving you a 20% stake in Verdant. And I want you to manage it. I blinked. What? You know this place inside out, every flaw, every shortcut. You never used it against me, that's rare. He leaned back, looking older but unburdened. I need someone I can trust. That's you. I turned the key in my hand. You tried to push me out, he nodded. I was an idiot, scared, listening to the wrong people. I met his eyes. Don't expect me to get sappy. I don't, he said. Just say yes. I nodded. That night, Dylan caught me in the storeroom, shelving spices. So that was wild, he said. Yeah, I replied, sealing a jar. They tried to rope me in, he admitted. Claire and Julian offered me a cut to help frame you. I turned. And I walked away, didn't say a word. I studied him. Smart move. He grinned, sheepish. Had a reason. I didn't ask why. His eyes said enough, no smirk, just respect. Later, I overheard Nathan and Dylan in the dining room after hours. Nathan sat at a corner table, a glass of bourbon untouched. Dylan stood nearby, arms crossed. You did the right thing, Nathan said, walking away from Claire's scheme. You could have sold me out. Didn't feel right, Dylan muttered. That's what makes you different, Nathan said. You've got a moral line. I lost mine for a while. He pulled a worn photo from his jacket and slid it to Dylan. That's your mom. Dylan froze, then picked it up, his face shifting, shock, then something softer. Her name was Elise, Nathan said. We met when I was teaching at a culinary school. Young, reckless, I left for a job across the country. She never told me she was pregnant. Dylan's voice was tight. So you looked into me? Nathan nodded. When you started here, your face, it was hers. I hired a pie to be sure, found your birth records. Realized what I'd missed. Dylan sank into a chair, the photo in his hand. I grew up thinking my dad didn't want me. I didn't know, Nathan said. That's not an excuse. I slipped away, leaving them to their moment. Verdant was still standing, and so was I for the first time in years. I felt the weight of my past lift, just a little. The key in my pocket felt like a promise, not just of a new home, but of a future I could shape.